You can't replace two All-Stars. There's no team in NBA history been able to, to win a championship with two of the All-Stars not playing. And, I tried as much as I could, and everyone else down from myself tried as hard as we could, but we were going against a team that had more health, and was clicking on all cylinders at the right time.
LeBron making light of the fact that injuries to Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving were a major factor why the Cavaliers came up short against the Warriors in the NBA Finals. The Cavs are the favorites to return to the finals this season. Skip, what do you make of LeBron's comments?
Stephen A. Smith, I don't want to be too hard on LeBron because it's very, very early. Camps are just now opening. And LeBron and his team are going to be very, very good again this year, quite obviously. But given all that, given how high I set my bar for the great LeBron James, even this early, I did not want to hear him look back at last year's finals and make excuses for what happened. I did not want to hear the great LeBron James deflect any blame onto the injuries to two all-star teammates for what happened in the NBA Finals last year. Because, Stephen A. Smith, I know they all tried hard. They were a little overmatched. Didn't have the depth that they needed to hang in, sustain. But I'm going to remind everybody that the Cleveland Cavaliers were up 2-1 with Game 4 in LeBron's house in Cleveland, Ohio. We were there that night for that game. You want to talk about closing the deal there? If you go up 3-1, I think they're going to close that deal. I thought that was a great opportunity for the great LeBron James to validate his greatness and his all-time greatest case against Michael Jordan. If you could carry that band of misfits to a title, even though Tristan Thompson had emerged as a flat-out force in the finals, underrated force, I thought, with Mozgov. If you could carry that team without Kyrie, without Kevin Love to a title, wow, the world would have said, that's it, LeBron, you did it. That's your greatest achievement. And what happened that night? 103 to 82 happened. Golden State, rout in LeBron's house. As LeBron went 7 for 22, only 5 of 10 from the free throw line, 1 of 4 from 3. His teammates gave him little to no help. We know what they all did. J.R. Smith was 0 for 8 from 3, and Dellavedova was 2 for 9. But even for the whole playoff run, for one playoff run, LeBron James, for any player who's ever taken more than 100 threes in a playoff run, shot 22.7%. That's for the last year's playoffs. That's the worst in playoff history, 22.7%. So you got to take a little bit of blame for that, Stephen A. You got to take a little bit of blame for Game 4. And I know you told me the next day he just ran out of gas. And I've been thinking about that. Even last night I thought about it. This is the greatest conditioned athlete in the NBA. I give you that. I believe that. Nobody takes better care of himself than LeBron. So he runs out of gas in Game 4 of the finals? Is that why we're going to have more time off between finals games this year, so LeBron has a little better chance to refill his tank for the next game? I don't know, but I expected more from King James that night, and we didn't get it. And that was basically the end of last year's finals.
The season hasn't even started yet. It's the first day of media day. And already, I believe that you're being completely unfair to this man. Now, we work every day here on First Take. And we're going to give it to you straight. We're going to tell you what we believe. We ain't going to sugarcoat it. Try to be respectful. But at the same time, we're just going to be real because we got an audience that's watching. And that's what they expect from us, and they should. But in the interest of fairness, we also have to be completely honest. We can't just tell the stories that we want to tell. We got to sit there and tell the whole story. LeBron James was absolutely positively dominant over the first 3 games. Even the first game, that they lost. He had 44, 8, and 6. And then he went on from there with triple doubles all over the place. Yes, he had a bad game in Game 4. Yeah, it looked like he ran out of gas. Because Kyrie Irving went down in Game 1. he had to carry the load in game 2 and 3, all right? And he seemed flat out positively exhausted. You were there in Cleveland. You saw how rabid those folks were. You know that LeBron James didn't have the luxury of just playing a basketball game, the interviews and everything else, just the whole atmosphere, the adrenaline rush. It conceivably got the best of him. So what does he do? After that bad game where he sat up there and didn't play well and looked completely fatigued, where Matthew Dellavedova, who you were raving about, acting like this dude was Kyrie Irving, he ends up shooting 3 for 14 in that game. And then J.R. Smith also shot 2 of 12 in that same game. The very next game, which was game 5, LeBron had 40, 14, and 11. They still lost that game. And then the closeout, because he got no help, and then the closeout game 6, he had 32, 18, and 9. What I'm saying to you is that when you look at the Golden State Warriors, they're either great or they're not. This wasn't about Steph Curry. This was also about Andre Iguodala. This was about Steve Kerr making that adjustment, inserting Andre Iguodala into the starting lineup, seating Andrew Bogut. And then after that, running the ball up and down the floor. Remember, the first couple of games, Golden State was very methodical in trying to match the size of a Tristan Thompson with Mozgov in terms of putting in a big lineup of their own. So you played at a slower pace. LeBron was able to catch a breath. As a result, he wasn't as worn out. And then Steve Kerr made that adjustment. You can't sit there and appreciate the greatness of what we're seeing from Golden State all year long and then ignore that because you want to get on LeBron's performance in one game out of 6 in the NBA Finals where the other 5, the brother showed up. I would be the first to get on LeBron James. Hell, he still hasn't gotten over how I called him out when they played badly against Dallas when he was with Miami. But that is the only thing that I have to say about LeBron, which he openly later admitted that he could have played better in that NBA Finals, similar to James Harden being sensitive because of how he disappeared in the Finals against Miami, which is the only negative thing I've ever said about him, really. But when you look at LeBron and how he played last year in that Finals without Kyrie Irving and without Kevin Love for those last 5 games, and with J.R. Smith, admittedly, being one-dimensional, knowing that he's too talented to just be some daggone spot-up shooter, that he should be doing better than that. There is no question that this is one legitimate time, actually the second time, because the first time he lost to the San Antonio Spurs in 2007, we all knew that their championship was getting to the finals. They had no shot against the Spurs. And last year, after Love and Kyrie went down, come on now, the only hope they had was for LeBron to be LeBron and to get a speck of help. And he got no help offensively those last 3 games. You got to be fair enough to say that, Skip. You can't ask that man to do but so much. That's not right. Can.
That's just How many times last year did I agree with you, LeBron James is the best player on the planet? Did I not always say, you're right, he's the best player?
Yeah.
Okay, so if the best player gets it to 2-1 Cleveland with another game in Cleveland, man, I'm going to expect him to be the best player on the planet that night, and he was not. I also would expect him yesterday to say, you know what, we were up 2-1, and I ran out of gas. If he'd said that yesterday, I'd say, I got it. I feel you, because it sure looked like you ran out of gas. Yes,
you would have got on it for saying that.
I would not.
You would have got on it for saying that. You would have said he must have drank a couple of Sprites, or he must not have worked out, even though he's a workout dude. You would have said something if he had said, I just ran out of gas. Well, yes, you would have. And by the way, Skip, let's keep in mind, I would agree with you. If LeBron spent the rest of the series, had he ran out of gas so much that he had nothing left for games 4, 5, and 6. But the fact is, it was just one game. You know, it ain't about comparing him to Jordan or anybody else. It's about understanding that even though he's the best player in the world, Golden State was the best team in the world last year. They played better than everybody else, and they had more weapons, along with the reigning league MVP, who is the greatest shooter we have ever seen. They went small, and they were running up and down the court. They changed the pace. You also acknowledge that there were some issues with Black. and how he was learning the ropes in his first year as an NBA coach. You acknowledge that J.R. Smith has to do better and has to do more, because when he's not shooting well, he doesn't seem to do anything right, and now he has to graduate from that position. You acknowledge that Iman Shumpert can defend, but he is no shooter. All of a sudden, an epiphany hits you, and you recognized and remembered that Matthew Dellavedova is Matthew Dellavedova, a serviceable player who belongs in the NBA, but he's no starting point guard.
Wait a second.
This is what LeBron was dealing with.
What happened in Game 2 and Game 3? The deli was open, was it not? Did he
played well?
Did he not make some clutch plays and clutch shots in both those games? LeBron got his help. He got his help, and they're up 2-1. Well, I'm raising my bar.
That's why they were
up 2-1.
the best player
on the planet to play better than he played at home in Game 4.
That's why they were up 2-1.
Okay.
Hold on. That's why they were up 2-1.
Yeah.
Because he got a contribution from somebody else. Even when he was doing it by himself, he still lost Game 1. And then when Matthew Dellavedova subbed admirably for Kyrie Irving in Games 2 and 3, they won those games. So he didn't have any help. That's my point.
But
he didn't have any help
you
the last 3
admitted to me
games.
the next day, LeBron just came out flat. He just looked lifeless. He looked without energy. Really? This is a chance to just drop the hammer, and you come out flat. You come out drained. I don't get it.
If you don't have it, Skip, you don't have it.
Okay.
What do you mean you don't get it? You see, that's where. Hold on, wait a minute. Forget all that. That's where you're disingenuous, because you've covered enough basketball to know that some days you don't have it. Now you can't not have it for a series.
There's some games you better have it for.
But if LeBron had played this way, hold on. If LeBron had played this way in games 4, 5, and 6, you'd have a point. If there were a game 7, then you have a point. But if you up 2-1 and you don't show for game 4 because you out of gas, but you come back in games 5 and 6, then you got to acknowledge that man ran out of gas and call it what it is. You can't sit up there and just ignore all the stuff that was happening around him. That's not fair.
Okay.
That's not fair.
I'm with you. The most fit player on the planet and the greatest player on the planet ran out of gas in a pivotal Game 4. I'm with you.
Oh, gentlemen.
He had nobody. He had no help.
We gotta go to break.
You're just hating.
We gotta go to break.
You're just hating right now. That's what you do.
No shows off for Skip
on
Bayless.
media day.
Yeah.
Hating on media day. You even wait till the opening of the season.
Guys, here's the good news.
Please.
We get to see a healthy Cleveland team this year, and we can discuss after. No excuses, right?
Yeah,
that's not true.
If they run into a healthy
we don't know that about
Spurs, we're gonna
Kyrie.
have a whole nother.
We don't know that about Kyrie.
Okay.
We don't know if Kyrie gonna be healthy.
Hopefully healthy.
Yes.
We'll leave it there.